what the heck would you say about this? Where it's one thing, we've talked a little bit about, oh, you know, groceries are getting more expensive, clothes are getting more expensive, cars, insurance, all that stuff is getting more expensive. Okay, but what if it's not just like, you know, I'd like to have a new car, I'd like to, you know, get the name brand groceries instead of the off-brand stuff. What if it's your medication and you actually need it to live? Because that's what we're starting to see more and more of. Health insurers are covering fewer drugs out there and putting more restrictions on drug coverage, but they're raising the cost for consumers too. So they're doing the same gosh darn stuff that the Walmarts and the Targets and the Amazons are doing, but it's the stuff that you actually need to live.
Yes, so we're not talking about shrinkflation anymore. We're talking about drugs that people need for their daily lives. And it's a travesty and it's terrible.
So what can people do about it? Anything?
Well, you're kind of, you know, at the mercy of the administration. And I do believe, and correct me if I'm wrong here, that the Biden administration did try or attempt to make deals for elderly folks or a certain segment of the population to bring down costs.
Yep.
I don't know how successful they've been.
Yeah, good luck beating Big Pharma.
Well, exactly. And, you know, I came from Wall Street, Big Pharma. You know, it's not a big jump between the two of them. They're both doing the same thing. And so they continue to make money off of people being ill, unfortunately.
Got a little over 9 million adults out there who say that they're not taking their meds as they're prescribed due to the cost, employing such strategies as skipping doses, taking less than what they've been prescribed, or delaying getting a refill. And insurers say that you can do a couple things. Insurers are doing a few things to make medications more expensive. They're covering almost 20% fewer medications. So nice of them.
Yes.
I went through an issue the other day, and by the other day, I mean a few months ago, where the place that I go to get a 90-day supply of my meds, all of a sudden they were like, yeah, we don't have it. You have to go somewhere else. Well, the somewhere else happened to be my grocery store. Well, I can get it, but it costs 3 times as much.
Really?
So, and it's not just like a cheapy drug. Yeah. It's a couple $100 now. Yeah. So it went from like $50 to a couple hundred. And to your point, all of that money adds up. That, you know, every couple months when it's like, well, I was getting it for $50 and now it's $200, $250. It's like, okay, we'll multiply that by 4 times a year, and all of a sudden that's an extra $800 a year.
Well, and the thing that's fascinating about this is historically it would always be the elderly, right? They were impacted. They're splitting pills, they're splitting doses. Now it's everyone. So I have girlfriends that have drugs that they've been on, behavioral meds for, you know, since they were like 13, 14. They're laid off right now.
Yeah.
That script will cost them $750
Crazy.
Without insurance. And here's the thing. You can't even find, there's an Adderall shortage in this country. If you don't know, and people that are on it that are listening understand exactly what I'm saying.
They probably don't because they can't focus because they can't get their Adderall.
Well, and seriously, and
I mean it somewhat seriously.
Not to be glib, but I mean, I don't know if I don't think I know anyone that's like not on meds in this country in some way, shape, or form. And the fact that in our country, you don't have access to that, folks are hoarding it. So what do? I have a lot of friends that go to Mexico, Pharmacia. That's what they do. And then it's going to cut into other aspects of your life if you can't afford that.
So the other thing, aside from covering less medications, they're also restricting more covered drugs. The average number of drugs with restrictions in Part D plans, so now we are talking more of the elderly, has increased from about 23% up over 27% back in 2010 to about 50% of drugs in 2024. So the numbers are just ballooning left and right. Suggestions in terms of what can consumers do to cut their drug costs? Shop around, they say. Like, haha, who's not doing that?
Exactly.
Ask your doctor if there's a less expensive medication, of course. Look for coupons. Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
Make sure your pharmacy's in network. Like, I always love, like, the suggestions are like, okay, tried that. What else can I do? Now, this one, you mentioned this. You hit the nail on the head. Cross the border to Mexico. They also say order drugs from Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, great. So if you can't get the drugs that you need at a price you can afford, just go to another country to get them.
Which is a really sad state of affairs. And then you're dealing with counterfeit drugs, and are you really getting the potency of the drug that you need? And these aren't like cosmetic, diet pills and things that people are getting. These are actual medications that people need to live. So you kind of sort of want to know what you're getting, regardless of the country that you're receiving. A lot of folks, they're online pharmacies in India. I know a lot of people that are doing that too. And it's sad, but
got to do what you got to do.
Right?
You need your meds.
Yeah, you need your meds.
Thanks for watching The Chris and Joe Show. Click to see more from Chris and Joe and tap the button in the middle to subscribe to KTAR News.